Florida Congressman Greg Steube. Congressman, does this plan have a chance in you-know-where of actually passing?
Well, I sure hope not, but you haven't seen Democrats actually have some common sense in these moderate districts and vote against some of these radical progressive proposals. Now, Speaker Pelosi can only lose 3 votes from her caucus on the floor. So you would hope there'd be some moderate Democrats that would actually, when we're talking about increasing taxes, 85% of which of small companies have 20 or less employees. So we're not talking about big, huge corporations. We're talking about small businesses that is the lifeblood of America and the lifeblood of Florida that we're going to tax during a time that they've just come through a pandemic. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but they got to find ways to pay for all of these social welfare programs and all of these handouts that they're giving from the government.
Again, Joe Concha, jump in here. The Biden administration, this just seems like a way of punishing a group of people that progressives don't like, because just this capital gains tax increase to the highest level, certainly in modern American history, it reduces investment, reduces wage growth, and reduces revenue for the government, because once the tax goes up, people don't actually sell assets.
And Dagan, we see in 3 states, 3 very blue states, California, New York, and New Jersey, when you have the combined capital tax rate, now suddenly your capital gains, I should say, rate, you're looking at rates of 55%. I mean, these are numbers that are out of control. And then you wonder, okay, where does all that tax revenue go? Is it going towards fixing my roads and my bridges, or to COVID relief, or to all the things that we care about as a parent, from my perspective, in terms of safety and in terms of education? Is it going to increase all the folks that we have at the border that are overwhelmed, as Maria's great reporting has shown this morning? It doesn't appear that that's the case. So I guess what I want to ask the congressman, though, if you don't mind.
No, go.
So in Florida, if you look at the numbers, 17,000 fewer deaths than New York from COVID. That's despite Florida having an older population, a larger population, 4 major cities. Florida has been open for a year. New York has been quite the opposite. Florida has truly been the model here as far as how we should have done things in the first place. Is the governor there getting the proper credit that he should be getting?
Well, he's not going to get the credit from the mainstream media, of course, but I can tell you that Americans are seeing this, because every day I'm out in my district, people from all over the country are moving here, and they're moving here from states that are locked down: New York, New Jersey, Michigan. I met a gentleman not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, from California that retired and came here because he's sick and tired of the policies that are implemented in these blue states. And if you look at the growth that we are having in Florida, because our economy is open, because that we can have businesses open, and no limits on the people in restaurants and that sort of thing. Our biggest challenge right now is finding employees to work in these companies, because they're getting paid more by the federal government to stay at home and not work than they are to come and work at these small businesses. That's the biggest challenge that we're facing in Florida right now. So because of the policies put in place by Republican leadership.
I just want to, speaking of battling COVID and how some of these states are doing, I just want to quickly, Congressman, get your reaction to the big announcement, the big reveal yesterday with the new mask guidelines from the CDC, allowing vaccinated people to go maskless when they're outdoors, essentially, walking, exercising, dining in small gatherings. Congressman, the big reveal, and it's like, oh, dear leader, thank you for allowing us to not wear masks if we've been vaccinated when we go outside. This is what people have been doing, even not being vaccinated, for a year, because the transmission of this virus outdoors is negligible. This is laughable.
Well, and what Joe just said, if mask mandates worked, and if masks worked, then Florida's numbers would be skyrocketing over states like California and New York and Michigan, where a 2-year-old has to wear a mask outside. And you're not seeing that. And that's because they're not effective. And all they're doing is allowing you to wear a mask if you're in a small group of people, socially distanced, outside. But heck, if you go to a baseball game, you still have to wear your mask. not here in Florida, which is why people are flocking here. And if the science actually backed this up, then states like Florida would have astronomical COVID numbers, and you don't see that. You're actually seeing quite the opposite. I have the second most elderly district in the country, and if you compare my district with districts in New York and LA and California, the numbers just aren't there to support mask mandates.
And again, but I do want to be clear that, like, if you're inside, like, the mask wearing, particularly if you have not been vaccinated, it's really important to protect other people in case you do have the virus. And I'm speaking from personal experience, but I'm talking about outside. People have been running and jogging and exercising for a year with no mask on. Congressman, thank you so much. It was great to see you. Greg Steube.
Thanks for having me.